also reassure them that crying is the only language that a newborn knows. So if the baby is hot, the baby's gonna cry. If the baby is cold, the baby's gonna cry. If the baby's swallowed too tight, hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube video. You know, it's your girl Devon, and it's all about the babies with your favorite NCS. Yes, your favorite NCS. And today we will be talking about some of the questions that parents should ask when you should look out for as an NCS when you're being interviewed for a newborn care specialist job or night nurse. Yes. Some of the common questions that I found that parents normally ask can sometimes be anywhere maybe alarming, or you're not sure how to answer it, because as an NCS certified newborn care specialist, I always tell my parents that I always go or do what my families require. So I don't wear one family fits all. I rather hear what the family is looking for and then adjust myself to that, because some families may want a scheduled baby while other families may want the baby to just go at the feed on demand or do pattern what the baby wants to do at that moment. So every family is different. So here is 5 common questions that you might hear a family ask in an interview when interviewing you for a newborn care specialist position. The first question a parent might ask was, or the most common question, the first common question that a parent might ask is, just tell us a little bit about yourself. During this moment, they would like to know your name, your age, but not necessarily. They want to know how long you have been doing this for, what are your previous experiences with families. You can give them a little scenario, etc., etc. You know, hi, I've been at the NCS for over 10 years. We have gained most of my experience. I was a 24-hour care specialist. Now I'm only doing nights. During my transition, I dealt with preemies, I've dealt with twins, I've dealt with triple, certain, just that little information. And then at the end of all that information, then you can always give your name. My name is Devon, and I am how old, and I have 2 kids of my own. Just that personal, but leave the personal information for the last part of the questions. Just give them a rundown. First, they just want to know about your experience when they ask that question. Number 2, how do you go about, what do you think about breastfeeding? Would you want me to breastfeed as a newborn parent? Do you think it is okay to breastfeed? How does the night, what do you think about breastfeeding when the mom breastfeeds? Is it okay for you to take the baby to me? A question like that, of course, you have to say yes. As NCS, most of us, support breastfeeding 110%. When we say we support breastfeed, because it's the best thing to do. So if a mother wants you to take the baby to her, then that should not be a problem. That is what we are there for. The third question is, how do you think, what formula is best? Yes, sometimes parents do ask you that. Sometimes it's first time mom. As an NCS, we've seen so many different formulas. You can always say the most common formulas that you have seen. Oh, I've seen most of my parents use Similac. I've seen most of my parents use Enfamil. Those are the most common. But if the baby have any other issues, then the doctor, of course, might recommend something else. We are not doctors. We are not nurse practitioners. We are not RNs, registered nurses. We are mostly there for care for the baby needs, basically, and that includes just giving you a small rundown, feeding, burping, scheduling, cleaning, changing diaper, and sleep training. A lot of NCS like myself has been trained, where we are trained in sleep training, we're trained in scheduling the baby, and when we are trained in all that, that's what most of our job is compact of. And the most important part is for the mothers to get rest in the first 2 to 3 months after giving birth. That's where we come in to make sure the mother get as much rest and help and guidance into parenthood as much as possible. The fourth question is, what would you do during the night? What's a typical night? You can say it depends on the mom whether she wants a scheduled baby or not. So if she wants a scheduled baby, then we'll time the baby. The baby would try to get the baby under 12 sleeping by 12 hours by 12 weeks. So if the mother wants to start at 8, 7, 6, depends on what the mother wants. Then when we come in, we would feed the baby, get the baby ready for bed, swaddle the baby, burp the baby, put the baby in, stuff like that. And just give them a breakdown of what your typical day or night as an NCS is. And the final question that we find sometimes mothers ask, and it's very common, is how do you smooth a crying baby? Now, as an NCS, there's so many different techniques and tips you could say by answering this question, but the most thing that the mother is listening for is for you to say, my babies don't cry. I don't like to hear babies cry. Which I, as an NCS and a mom, I don't like when my babies are crying. So, and mothers, all mothers don't like when their babies are crying. It just triggers something in us. So as I always tell my parents, my babies don't cry. I try not to avoid them from crying. And my smoothing method is various, maybe swaddling them, picking them up, patting their bum, make sure they're comfortable, changing their diapers, feeding them, burping them, because it can be a wide range of things that make the baby start crying. And I also reassure them that crying is the only language that a newborn knows. So if the baby is hot, the baby's gonna cry. If the baby is cold, the baby's gonna cry. If the baby is swaddled too tight, then the baby's gonna cry. If the baby needs a diaper change, then the baby's gonna cry. If the baby has a common burp, and burping in baby is very important, but that is for our next video. However, burp can cause chaos when it comes to a baby. A baby can be screaming its head off just for a simple little burp, which may be simple for adults, but is the biggest problems in a baby life, burping. So those are 5 common questions that you can look out for when being hired as an NCS. I hope you got some information from this, and I hope if mothers, if you're watching this and you want to ask, feel free to comment down below and tell me some other questions that you'd want to ask an NCS, and I can respond to them as best as possible as I can. If you're an NCS and you're watching this, tell me some other common questions that you have heard parents ask you when you're doing an interview for a job. Guys, thank you so much again. You're watching your favorite girl, Devon, your favorite NCS. And all the best. Remember to like, share, comment, subscribe, and leave a comment down below and tell me about your NCS journey so far. See you in our next video. Bye.